My name's Stuart Crampton. I've been a prosthetist here in Queensland now for the last 15 years, having graduated 25 years ago now, working in prosthetics in Melbourne and then up to Queensland. I've been asked today to speak about prosthetic technology and how it has affected my client treatment and how it's changed over my career. I first got into prosthetics back when I was 17. My grandmother lost her leg and I saw how important her mobility was and how she got around on her prosthesis. So that sort of inspired me to sort of dedicate a lot of my time to improving people's walking. So that was a big moment in my life, and it's still going. So it's a bit of a passion, and making sure that technology is taken on board and it's used in our treatments is really important to me. So I graduated 25 years ago. So it was right at the time when we first saw microprocessor knees, and that's been probably the biggest, single most thing in my career. Second to that, we actually had greater access to lightweight carbon fiber feet. So those two things stand out to me, and it's meant that whilst the materials technology improved the energy and how we were getting forces back from the ground for our clients, and actually then we got technology that improved safety. So I think those two things together gave us sort of the third thing that I think's important. It's our socket technology. So with the improvements in the componentry, we actually have to step up. We have to make our prosthesis more comfortable, adapt better to our clients. And with those technologies, we've been able to do that quite well. And the industry as a whole, I think, has adapted to that. So we've got systems more appropriate for sensitive skin, for weaker clients, for patients that might not have walked without those technologies. So I think if we get our socket interface right, and the technologies that have come into our field have allowed us more scope, that we can use those new technologies more effectively and build the prosthesis and help our clients better. My key considerations for all clients are essentially the same. So we have to look at, obviously, the amputation level. Then we look at what environments that client will be using the leg in, and what goals they have. So we could fit anyone with anything, but if I can't do it on the size of a build, we might have to look at how tall the prosthesis is or how tall the client is in order to fit those components in. So that the design inputs from every client, they're pretty much the same: weight, activity, height, the side of the amputation, what technology is available. We have to make sure that it will get the task done. And then we have to consider what technology or what socket technology is going to enable that. So we have new feet which are quite heavy. We need to add suction. So we might need to cast a different way. We need to look at the products available there. If we are thinking that this person will need a more advanced technology to get them to their goals, or even get them thinking about their short-term goals, then we might look at a process where we have to use a temporary socket or an interim prosthesis style check socket, get evidence and progress them through that way. So my considerations are, we always consider technology, but technology is only as good as the socket that it's under or the way it's attached to the person. So we always look at how we're going to transfer the load to the body, and then how that person will manage it before we consider the specific abilities of the technology. In order to achieve the best outcomes for our clients, we actually have to look at everyone's goals. We have to make sure our conversation's quite open and that we're on the same page. So it's not, as I said before, it's not just about the components and what they do. It's about making sure that the whole process can help them achieve their goals. So it's making sure the goals are achievable, first of all, and that they're done in such a way that we can actually hit those goals early on and then reassess those goals. So we might be looking at how a microprocessor knee improves a person in certain activities, but we actually have to consider how much better they'll be in the future and then what their goals might be beyond that. And that's a really important aspect to planning ahead. They're not determined. There's something that you should think about. It's something that we can get written down on paper. But unless everyone's involved, the treating team, the therapists, we're all on the same page. We're not actually going to make those goals a reality. So getting them written down, getting them probably itemised in such a way that we can achieve them. I think that's probably the way we've been able to achieve really good outcomes. And then also bringing in better referral processes and using physiotherapy, occupational therapy as we need, even psychology and things like that will actually help that person sort of break that barrier and reach and achieve their outcome. So we have to be more holistic. We certainly here in Brisbane, we've added physiotherapy to our team, and we're looking at more ways of getting that varied approach that's separate to the acute allied health setting. It's something that's more personal, and something that we can offer on a day-to-day basis for our clients. So making sure everyone's on the same page is really, really important. We actually make sure our clients are educated on our industry as a whole. So providing information early on is really, really important. It might be a simple demonstration. It might be through peer support. It just getting that information to get the person that you're assessing on a similar level in terms of what you can do and what is available for them. We do get a lot of clients now because the evidence or the exposure, I guess, of prosthetics everywhere now is huge with Paralympics, Invictus Games. We're all seeing the technology and we're all seeing what it can do. So it's actually making sure that everyone's aware of what it can do, but everyone also is aware of how we can make, how a prosthetist or a treating clinician can make that work for the client. And if everyone's getting that on the same page, we can then sit down, as I was saying before, work out how the goals, how they fit in with the existing technology and how that will work. So I do get very, very headstrong clients that will say, look, I've got this, it works, or I want this, or I want this to be able to do a higher level of function. That's great. And we do want people being motivated, and information sort of creates that motivation as well, which is fantastic. But it's making sure that we can put evidence behind that, and then our clients see that we're doing that and we're getting the evidence there to back their goals up. And I think if we can educate our clients well enough, and that's just done through informal conversations and listening to their needs, I think we get a better result. And so usually, and especially with our biggest interested party, which is the NDIS at the moment, they're also encouraging us to get a signed statement that we've discussed the goals and we've discussed the process. And I think that's really important to make sure that's done, and it's right at the start of the treatment process. So pretty much empower our clients with information, let them have time to think about it, go away, do some research, look at peer support agencies like this, and come and get information from people that are actually invested in it. So I think that's the best way to do it. When an amputee is going to maybe a review appointment, say in one instance they've had some issues, there's something there, make sure that information or what's going on is written down in some form that it can be communicated without missing anything that's actually raised during that time where something's gone wrong. So I think all clients should be able to do that, and a good prosthetist should be a listener first. So that person, if they're invested in your treatment, then what will happen is they will listen to you before they devise a treatment plan. So I think getting a result is based on that effort, and we know that our clients are the center of their own treatment. They've got to find a way to get us to work for them, and not the other way around. So it's really important that you go in prepared to an appointment. So on the other side, when maybe it's the first appointment with a particular prosthetist, so you haven't been there before, or you're starting a new NDIS plan, or you've come out of the interim program, being prepared with your history, medical history, prosthetic history, if you've transferred from another provider. I think that's really important because there's a lot of ground that you do over the years trying systems. Systems don't work for everyone, different silicons, liners like that. What that can do is it can accelerate the process for you, and it can mean that process goes, okay, well, that might not have worked because of this reason. Is that reason still relevant today? Or is there something with new technology that makes that now work? So considering everything, it's really hard. It's a broad scope. We've got so many materials and so much technology, but going in open and honest about your goals, also realistic about where you're at. So about having that insight into knowing, well, this is where I was at before this amputation or before I got unwell. This is where I think I should be. And it doesn't matter if your short-term goals don't look like long-term goals, but as long as there's a process and that it can be followed and that you feel that you're getting listened to, I think more information from our clients, we love it. Show us what you've seen on YouTube. It doesn't matter. Show us what you've heard in the media. We'll find a way to make that make sense, and we'll see if that can be valuable to you in the future. In summary, talking about prosthetic technology and how it's changed over my 25 years of practice, I think it has changed. Everything's changed. We're looking at iPads, not paper. We're doing everything a little bit differently, and we're finally evolving to where our prostheses are the same. They are battery operated. They're advanced materials, titanium, carbon fiber, and that's just the base. All this stuff is fabulous, but we all have to realize that as a clinical service, none of that matters unless we've got the interface right, unless we're providing safety, we're protecting the client's skin, tissue, bones. All these elements have to be right. So bringing everything together, I think the most important changes have been socket technologies for myself, but then using that improved suspension, improved loading characteristics with smart componentry, with microprocessor knees that offer safety for us to build a prosthesis that actually does meet people's goals. So I think over my whole time, I've seen a perfect sort of smooth flow into microprocessor knees, now ankles, powered prostheses are around the corner. We're now thinking about 3D printing as a way forward in terms of improving accuracy, repeatability, which is fantastic. It all just comes down to clinical reasoning, clinical assessment, and also getting that information, that design off our clients. So if we can do that better with scanners, or maybe our hands are going to be the way for a bit longer, which is fine with me. We've still got to do those processes and apply our knowledge. So I guess in summary, socket fit, yes, it's 100% the most important thing we can do. Beyond that, nothing matters. Once the socket's fitting, then the technology actually comes into its own. We should be assessing our clients. We should be getting evidence. The check socket process, which I know a lot of my clients love, is important, not just for the socket fit, but for the alignment. So one prosthesis, if you haven't aligned it properly, you're not getting the best out of the feet, the knees, all these adapters. So we do that. We have to give everyone a fair go on those items in order to get the best out of them. So, and also the best value for money for our interested parties who are funding these items. So we're in a great period where everyone can actually get suitable and reasonably appropriate prostheses. It's moving forward rapidly, and it's quite exciting. So thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on the topic.